Hi students, in today's session we are going to discuss about respiration. But even before that, let us first discuss what exactly happens in this process. See, when we eat food, it gets digested and as a byproduct namak enna kedaikudhu glucose. Adhe mari when we breathe in air at the lungs, it is richly supplied with blood vessels. And in the blood vessels enna pannuna adula irukka hemoglobin will attract the oxygen and that will be supplied into the body. In the digestion oda end product la irukra glucose, it is taken up by the blood and it is carried towards the various parts of the body. So that process is called as what? Transportation. So blood cells transport plenty of things. Adula rendu important processes. Either food oda end product ana glucose and நம்ம breathe in பண்ற airல இருந்து கிடைக்கக்கூடிய oxygen. இது ரெண்டுத்தையுமே the blood transports it to all the living cells. இந்த living cells என்ன பண்ணும்னா for its day-to-day living it requires energy. இல்லையா? இந்த எனர்ஜியை எப்படி obtain பண்ணும்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா it uses this oxygen to burn this glucose. So oxygen and glucose together gives you carbon dioxide plus water plus a huge amount of energy. So each molecule of glucose, when it is burned by the oxygen, giving you carbon dioxide, water and energy in the process, this process is called as respiration. Please keep this in mind. Respiration is a process which happens in all of the living cells. Each and every living cell, for its survival, it requires what? Oxygen and glucose. Yedukku? Because it requires energy for its various operations. So living cells la nadakakodiya in the breakdown of glucose and burning it, thereby in the process giving us huge amount of energy, is called as respiration. What is then taking in of air by the nostrils and then the lungs? And the process ku per breathing. So breathing la kedaikakudiyadu inhale exhale, that is breathing. Inhaling air and exhaling air. Inhale பண்ணும்போது அதுல oxygen அதிகமா இருக்கும். Exhale பண்ணும்போது carbon dioxide அதிகமா இருக்கும். Because inhale பண்ணும்போது இந்த airல இருக்கிற oxygen என்ன ஆகுதுன்னா it is getting attached to the blood vessels. அதுவே once it is going out அப்படின்னு வரும்போது byproduct என்னமா? Carbon dioxide respiration la. அது என்ன பண்ணும்? அந்த living cell after doing this respiration process, அதாவது after breaking up or burning down of the glucose, it gives out this carbon dioxide. And the carbon dioxide again it is collected by the blood and it is being taken to the lungs and then sent out into the air by breathing out. So இதுதான் process. Respiration is different from breathing. Respiration is a process that happens in the living cells which provides us energy. Whereas breathing is just inhale and exhale, wherein we inhale air with more amount of oxygen and exhale air with more amount of carbon dioxide. So getting back to our textbook activity. In the activity la paruma, ஒரு rubber tube fix பண்ணி ஒரு test tube மாதிரி எடுத்துக்கிட்டு அதுல lime water I am taking and I am bubbling normal air into it. இன்னொன்னுத்துல அதுவே ஒரு tube வழியா I am bubbling in my breathing out air. So இதுக்குள்ள நான் bubble பண்றதுக்கும் நார்மலா ஒரு tube வரிச்சு ஒரு பிச்காரி வச்சு bubble பண்றதுக்கும் there is a difference. இது என்னன்னா, as I have told you, when we exhale, the air consists of more amount of carbon dioxide which has been collected from the various living cells. Byproduct of respiration la varakodiya carbon dioxide ellame engama varudhu? We exhale it. அப்ப ஜாஸ்தி amount of carbon dioxide இருக்கும் இல்லையா? So what will happen? In the test tube la இருக்கிற lime water சீக்கிரமே, okay, it will get milky. Lime water will get milky when it comes in contact with carbon dioxide. அதுவே நம்ம breathe out பண்ணும்போது ஜாஸ்தி amount of carbon dioxide இருக்கிறதுனால this will get turned into milky shade at a faster pace. Whereas இது என்ன ஆகுமா? It will take some more time. இதுலயும் because normal air also has got carbon dioxide in it, but the amount is comparatively less. அதனால இது என்ன ஆகும்? It will take some more time compared to this one in order to get milky. So this is the most important part of this respiration. இது என்னன்னா இந்த glucose, how it is getting broken down in the living cells in order to provide energy. அதுக்கான breakdown of glucose by various pathways கான ஒரு flow chart இது. இந்த flow chartல பாத்தீங்கன்னா first levelல cytoplasm of the living cell glucose, the 6 carbon molecule, is broken down into pyruvate, which is a 3 carbon molecule. In the process liye you get some amount of energy. இதுக்கப்புறம் இந்த pyruvate பாத்தீங்கன்னா it can take up 3 courses. First course is in case of yeast. எப்பனா absence of oxygen. அதாவது anaerobic respiration. So absence of oxygen la yeast la in the pyruvate enna aguna, which is a 3 carbon molecule, that will get broken down into ethanol, which is a 2 carbon molecule, and carbon dioxide, which is a 1 carbon molecule, plus energy is given out in the process. So this is one sequence which happens in yeast. Second sequence பாத்தீங்கன்னா lack of oxygen in our muscle cells. இது lack of oxygen அப்படின்றது இதனுடைய end product பாத்தீங்கன்னா oxygen கம்மியா இருக்கிறதுனால pyruvate கம்ப்ளீட்டா அங்க burn ஆகாம எனக்கு I'll get lactic acid plus energy. Lactic acid is a 3 carbon molecule. Lactic acid plus energy is obtained in the process in our muscle cells wherein there is lack of oxygen. This is relevant to us getting cramps. At times, all of a sudden you do something or you run all of a sudden. அப்ப என்ன ஆகும்னா நம்மளோட muscles in our stomach and all, it might get a bit crampy and கொஞ்சம் pain இருக்கும். The reason for this cramps is திடீர்னு when you do something நமக்கு the breathing control கம்மியாகும். So what happens? The intake of oxygen will become comparatively less. Oxygen content கம்மியா இருக்கு and அவ்வளவு சீக்கிரம் அந்த oxygen does not reach our muscle cells, but still it requires energy for its functioning அப்படின்னு சொல்லும்போது இந்த muscle cells என்ன பண்ணும்னா it takes up this particular pathway. Not always. Only when it has got lack of oxygen, it takes this pathway in order to work out the energy consumption. சரியா? So in the process, pyruvate, what happens to it? It gets broken down into lactic acid and energy is released in the process. And the pain is because of this lactic acid which has got generated in this process. The third sequence is the regular sequence. In the third sequence, then generally all living organisms la nadakra respiration process, which is aerobic in nature. That is in the presence of oxygen. So the pyruvate in the mitochondria of this living cell, what happens to it in the presence of oxygen? It gets broken down into carbon dioxide, water, and a huge amount of energy is liberated in the process. So this is the actual aerobic respiration kana pathway. Exam pathina, they might give you illustrate the breakdown of glucose with a neat label flow chart. So that is a 3-mark question. This entire flow chart you have to draw and write the details. Either way, if in case they ask you any particular concept, what happens to the glucose in the absence of oxygen? Or what happens to glucose in our muscle cells when there is lack of oxygen? What happens to our glucose in the mitochondria in the presence of oxygen? So what is the sequence? This third sequence you'll write. So specifica in the question kekrangalo adukku etha mari the split panni you have to write the answer. So the energy released during the cellular respiration irukku, the energy idu it is used to synthesize a molecule called ATP. In the ATP ன்றது என்னன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா it is a fuel to all other activities of that particular cell. So matta processes, matta cellular processes நடக்கும்போது இந்த ATP will get broken down and it gives rise to a fixed amount of energy which is used for the other endothermic reactions. So நம்ம செல்குள்ள நடக்கிற exothermic reaction எது அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா it is respiration. Whereas cell la nadakra matta ella processes pathina they are what? Endothermic reaction. Because they require energy and they are deriving that energy from the ATP which has been a byproduct of this respiration process. So ATP is the energy storage in pathom. So ATP oda idea enna, it is called as the energy currency for all the other cellular processes. இது என்னன்னா respiration oda end product la ATP molecule is being made from ADP and inorganic phosphate. ADP, adenosine diphosphate plus inorganic phosphate will provide in the presence of energy, enna aguna it will form ATP. அதாவது terminal in the phosphate molecule link ஆயிருக்கும் at the end like this. So it forms what? ATP. எப்ப எனர்ஜி தேவையோ அப்போ இந்த டெர்மினல் linkage break ஆகி அந்த process will liberate energy. Again it will get broken in order to form what? ADP and phosphate. So in the process la enna kedaikudhu? We are getting energy to drive our various processes. இப்ப energy equivalence எவ்வளவு கிடைக்கும் அப்படினு பார்த்தா it is 30.5 kilojoules per mole of ATP. Not just one ATP. You know what is mole? Mole is what? Avogadro number of particles. So athana number of particles 30.5 kilojoules will be obtained from 1 mole of ATP particles. So this is how you have the energy which is obtained from the respiration process getting stored up in order to sustain the other endothermic processes. There is one another interesting concept asked by students. Ma'am, we humans do respiration for obtaining energy. அதுவே plants வந்து it does photosynthesis for obtaining energy. தப்புமா. Plants என்ன பண்ணுதுன்னா it does photosynthesis to obtain starch. Starchன்றது நம்மளுடைய glucose equivalent. இந்த starch plus oxygen ரெண்டும் சேர்ந்து plantsலயும் the process of respiration will happen and அதனுடைய byproduct will be carbon dioxide, water and energy. So in the process, not alone in humans and animals, you have got the same process of respiration happening in plants as well. So plants enna panuna daytime la carbon dioxide use panni starch ready panikum. Daytime liyo respire pannum, night time liyo respire pannum. But daytime la pathina respiration pandradhukku thevayana oxygen it is obtained as a byproduct of photosynthesis. Correct? Ana night time la adukku thevayana oxygen inbuilt it will not be getting it, but rather it has to take it from the external atmosphere. So and the exchange of gases enga nadakudhu appdin pathina through stomata of the plant. So the large intercellular spaces ensure that all cells are in contact with air. So carbon dioxide and oxygen rendume by the process of diffusion it is getting exchanged. So direction of diffusion pathina it depends upon the requirement of the plant. Adavadhu this is the idea that I discussed. Night appa pathina photosynthesis kadayadu. Adanala carbon dioxide jaasti veliye thallum. Carbon dioxide is eliminated as a major exchange activity. Ena carbon dioxide is a byproduct of respiration. Night time liyo respiration nadakum. Correct? But night time la photosynthesis nadakadu. Adanala carbon dioxide jaasti veliye thallum. But during the day pathina carbon dioxide which is generated during respiration is used up for photosynthesis. Therefore, carbon dioxide release irukadu. Eppo? Daytime la. Instead, oxygen released will be the major event during the daytime. So there is one interesting question usually asked. Why should we not sleep under a tree at night time? மரத்துக்கு அடியில ஏன் நைட் போய் படுக்க கூடாதுன்னு question இருக்குமா? They ask that repeatedly, 2-mark question. Why? Because of this reason. Because night time pathina photosynthesis illada reasonnala carbon dioxide elimination is the major activity in case of plants and trees. So major amount of carbon dioxide is getting eliminated abindrappa when you are going to sleep under the tree you will not get sufficient amount of oxygen which is required for your respiration. So other reason you have to write it. The next question will be related to the animals. If animals pathina oxygen various methods it is taking in. terrestrial animals பார்த்தோம்னா they breathe the oxygen from the atmosphere. ஆனா those that live in water need to use oxygen dissolved in water. இப்போ there is another interesting question repeatedly asked. The rate of breathing in case of aquatic animals is greater. Why? Rate of breathing என்றது எத்தனை தடவை breathe in பண்ணி breathe out பண்றோம்ன்ற கான்செப்ட். இப்போ நம்ம terrestrial animals ஒரு 10 தடவை breathe in பண்ணி breathe out பண்ற டைம்க்குள்ள the organisms that are living in water, fishes and all that, they breathe in breathe out nearly 20 times. Why? Because the amount of dissolved oxygen is less in water when compared to that of atmospheric oxygen. Atmospheric oxygen pathina, it is greater, whereas the dissolved oxygen that is present is less in case of water. Adanalada, the animals that are living in water will have a greater breathing rate compared to that of the terrestrial animals. The same concept is explained as an activity. Fish in an aquarium, எத்தனை தடவை open and close their mouths பண்ணுது? That is nothing but the breathing rate. இதை count பண்ணீங்கன்னா number of times will be very much greater when compared to the time you breathe in and breathe out. So, இது எதனாலனா amount of dissolved oxygen is low compared to the amount of oxygen in air. So, that is why the rate of breathing in aquatic organisms is faster when compared to that of terrestrial organisms. So, the fishes take in water through their mouths and force it past the gills. In the gills, pathina richly supplied with blood vessels. So, அந்த இடத்துல வெளிய வர அந்த particular dissolved oxygen, it will be taken up by the blood. So, in case of terrestrial organisms pathona, the respiration process ku thevayana and the oxygen, it is absorbed by different organs in different animals. ஆனா இதுல மேஜர் ஒற்றுமை என்னன்னா எல்லா ஆர்கனோட ஸ்ட்ரக்சரும் எப்படி இருக்கணும்னா it should increase the surface area which is in contact with the oxygen rich atmosphere. So இப்போ ஹியூமன்ஸ்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா we have got big lungs. So lungs குள்ள உள்ள ஃபுல்லா you take up, see, lungs பாத்தீங்கன்னா it will split like this, and in the lungs குள்ள the air is taken in, and then these lungs oda outside surface fullave it is richly supplied with blood vessels. So ulla pora air gets in contact with the blood vessels and the air exchange takes place. So in the process nadakkuradhukku that particular surface should be increased in surface area irukano. Rendavadhu, it is very fine and delicate. Adanala, in order to protect the surface, we are placing this inside our body, and that too with some kind of protection. If humans pathina, lungs are placed inside ribs. Rib gas kulla dhaan vechirupom ena adu avlo soft ana material, right? And thereby to protect it, it has been placed inside the rib cage. In our next session, we'll learn exactly how breathing takes place in case of humans and exchange of gases through various parts inside the lungs eppadi nadakudundradha we'll see in our next session.